Back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. Let's get you to France. Thousands of French high school students protesting for Black Tuesday. The chaos in France shows no sign of ending. Let's bring in an expert, James Carafano from the Heritage Foundation. Great to see you, sir.
Good to be with you.
The economy is doing great here in the U.S. What's your take on what's going on in France? Per capita income there is sinking below the U.K., America, Ireland, even Switzerland as well. Your take there?
Yeah. You know, the news in the UK and France are exactly the opposite. There's gloom in the UK, but that story is actually going to end well. France is not going to end well because what people are advocating for is more of a government that doesn't work. What they need is real economic freedom, deregulation, real stimulating the economy from real growth in jobs. And that's not what Macron's going to give them.
You know, there is hyper-regulation. We know that. We've been reporting about hyper-regulation out of France for some time. France and Germany set the tone for the EU. It's why Brexit occurred. But now, what sparked this, James, these recent riots, were the higher gas taxes. Now we've got Canada talking about a carbon tax. Do carbon taxes or gas taxes stop global warming?
No, there's no evidence for that. But the problem is what the people of France are arguing against. Yeah, everybody wants lower taxes, but they want the French system that's propped them up for years, which gives them something for nothing, and it hamstrings growth and productivity. That's what they need. Here's the great irony here. When we look back on the history of this, the great savior of Europe is probably going to be Donald Trump, and here's why. Because we're not abandoning Europe from a security perspective. We're keeping the transatlantic security community together. But in the end, Trump is going to beat these guys and force them to become economically competitive. In the end, Europe, to save itself, is going to have to deregulate like the United States. And I think, ironically, the people that most Europeans hate, including most French people hate, is the person that probably offers them the best promise on a way forward. Because what Macron is doing by just saying, OK, I'll cut your taxes and give you a bonus, that's not going to grow jobs.
Yeah, because the underlying problems still are there, right? The way they run their economy is a failed socialist model. Let's be blunt about it. I mean, even people inside France say, we have failed, the socialism model has failed. But James, don't we have a danger here? Because our bureaucratic state is growing. Congress has been outsourcing its rulemaking to federal agencies and courts growing at a pace like never before. Congress is not doing its job. It's letting the agencies do it. The agencies, these unelected bureaucrats, are making the rules, and we don't even know what they're doing.
And when I say this is not a partisan comment. I work at a nonpartisan think tank, so I'm not pro or against anybody. But if you look what this administration and this president has done, is they have tried to cut through all the problems that you just mentioned in two ways. One is this government is forcing deregulation. We used to do a report here at Heritage called Red Tape Rising. We don't write that report anymore because every year we aren't getting more regulations. Now we're actually getting less. And the other thing is this president is absolutely committed to putting good judges in place who aren't going to make law from the bench. And if we consistently do those two things over two presidential terms, and potentially even a third term for these guys, then America's going to be safe from the kind of problems that you just mentioned. And what Europe is going to do is they're going to look back across the Atlantic and they're going to say, we want what they want. They're not going to want to move here like the people from Guatemala. They're going to want Europe to be more like America.
Well,
and they're going to demand deregulation and economic growth.
New numbers out of Gallup, 158 million people from around the world want to come here, James. Final word.
Yeah, well, that's because we've been doing all the right things in our economy. You know what's really funny is they're talking about slowing growth next year, that we might drop to 2.9%. And people are going, oh, my God. 5 years ago, if you could said America could grow at 2.9%, people would laugh you out of the room.
That's a great point.
So this president's got a good economic formula, and we're moving forward. And we're going to drag the Europeans into the future because the people of Europe, in the end, are going to demand that from their governments.
And I don't think we've seen 3% annualized growth since in the U.S., annualized since 2005, 2006, I think. James, you've been terrific. We'd love to have you back on. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for having me.